They say democracy dies in darkness. Well, it turns out
journalism dies at the Washington Post.
Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and you will notice a different setting today because I don't have my car, so I have to shoot this vlog in the kitchen, which allows me to flex a little something right. Oh,
what's that thing right over there?
I am actually entirely joking. The thing I am more proud about is the photograph right behind me. It's a photograph I took in Mont-Tremblant Park almost 10 years ago with my Nikon D300 and a 16mm fisheye lens. I call it Lost because the day we shot it, I was hiking with my best friend and my dog, and it was so foggy we got entirely lost, couldn't find our way home, nearly fell off a cliff trying to get home.
It was a good day.
But this vlog is not about photography gone good, it's about journalism gone bad. And the Washington Post has just had to issue what would otherwise be the most embarrassing correction ever, except the standards seem to have gotten very, very low. 2 months ago, in the thick of the post-election drama and contests, the Washington Post dropped a bombshell of an article in which they directly quoted Donald Trump as having said something that 2 months later they had to confirm he did not in fact say. From the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. Just in case some of you didn't get the opening joke, democracy dies in darkness is actually the Washington Post's slogan. If you can believe it, the Washington Post's slogan is democracy dies in darkness. Hence my joke that journalism dies at the Washington Post, because it is a play on their own logo. It is a multi-layered joke, if I do say so myself. Multi-layered jokes usually end up being the ones that are least funny. Alright, back to the article. Correction. Trump, Georgia story. By Associated Press, March 15, 2021 at 8:42 p.m. Atlanta. In a story January 9, 2021 about a phone call between then-President Donald Trump and a lead Georgia elections investigator, the Associated Press, based on information provided by a source, erroneously reported that Trump pressed the investigator to, quote, find the end quote, and said it would make the investigator a national hero. A recording of the call made public 2 months later revealed that Trump did not say either, and instead said that if the investigator looked into Fulton County, the investigator would, quote, find things that are going to be unbelievable, end quote. Trump also told the investigator, quote, when the right answer comes out, you'll be praised, end quote. That's the correction. The Washington Post comes out and says, yeah, that thing that we said Donald Trump said 2 months ago in our Bombshell report, yeah, he didn't actually say it at all. Now, I know there are going to be some people out there who are going to say, yeah, close enough, he sort of said what they said he said. Yeah.
That's not how journalism works.
That's actually not even how it works in horseshoes. Close enough is not good enough, especially when you are attributing a direct quote to somebody. And getting back to the idea that journalism dies at the Washington Post, what this one paragraph correction actually illustrates is one of two things, and I don't know which is worse, and I took to Twitter in an undumb thing to express this sentiment. Viva Frei at the Viva Frei. The Washington Post either ran the false Trump story based on an anonymous source without having heard the audio recording, or heard the audio recording and knew the reporting was inaccurate. Which is worse? Now, I know some of you out there are going to say it would obviously be much worse if they heard the recording and knew the reporting was inaccurate, but I might argue that just blindly repeating what someone else says is a direct quote without actually verifying it yourself is reckless to the point of destroying journalism. Anyhow, we are dividing by zero, ladies and gentlemen. We are dividing by zero. It doesn't matter how big the number is, the answer is always going to be zero. It is reckless journalism, it is garbage journalism, it is a race to the bottom, and it also illustrates how broken the entire media system is. The Washington Post writes this fake news bombshell of a report, either having not heard the recording or having heard the recording and known that their reporting is inaccurate. All these other media outlets recycle, rehash, and repeat the same story, creating a tornado of fake news. From The Hill, Washington Post adds lengthy correction to report on Trump call with Georgia elections investigator. The Washington Post has added a lengthy correction to a bombshell report from early January that had said then President Trump told Georgia's top elections investigator during a phone call to, quote, find the end quote, and that they would be, quote, a national hero if they did so. The correction comes days after the Wall Street Journal obtained audio of the December call between Trump and the investigator. Quote, when the right answer comes out, you'll be praised, end quote. Trump told Francis Watson, the chief investigator of the Georgia Secretary of State's office, the Journal reported on Thursday. Watson reportedly responded, quote, I can assure you that our team and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, that we are only interested in the truth and finding the information that is based on the facts, end quote. Wellichy. That is somewhat different than what the Washington Post originally reported in their bombshell of a report. And by the way, you want to have your minds totally blown? Guess where the audio recording of that conversation was found? In the trash bin of the investigator's computer. But before we get there, let's just finish up on the point of the silo of fake news garbage wrap-up smear that is done by the media and how it actually works. The original Post report was covered widely by many media outlets, including The Hill, which has also updated its report on the Trump call. The Washington Post's now corrected and ultimately debunked original Bombshell story was covered by The Hill, NPR, The New York Times, just to name a few. Now, there is a nuance here that everyone should appreciate. There are, in fact, two distinct conversations or recordings at issue that people have to bear in mind, and I think The Hill might actually be getting them confused. There were, in fact, two secretly recorded conversations involving Trump, and one might want to ask oneself why on earth people would be secretly recording conversations with the president. Some might be able to come up with answers that will satisfy them to that question. Others may never be satisfied with the idea that the Secretary of State of Georgia would be secretly recording conversations with Donald Trump, but alas, that is what happened. The Secretary of State, Raffensperger, in a meeting with lawyers and Donald Trump, secretly recorded a conversation with Donald Trump, and the chief investigator for the state also secretly recorded a conversation with Donald Trump. So in the context of reading all of this, you have to bear in mind there were in fact two separately recorded conversations. One was about an hour long with Raffensperger and lawyers, apparently in the context of settlement discussions of pending lawsuits. We'll get to that in a second. And the other was this 6-minute telephone conversation that Donald Trump had with Watson, the chief investigator of the elections issues. From The Hill, corrected. Trump asked Georgia elections investigator to identify wrongdoing in state's presidential vote. Report. Correction. An initial version of this report, based on reporting by the Washington Post, said that President Trump told Georgia's top elections investigator in a December phone call to, quote, find the end quote, and said that they would be, quote, a national hero, end quote, if they did so. However, the Georgia Secretary of State later released an audio recording of Trump's call, revealing that the Post misquoted Trump's comments during the call in its report, which was based on information a source provided. This version has been corrected. No honor among scoundrels. The Hill, in their correction, throw the Washington Post under the bus, but proper. But as far as I am concerned, The Hill is no better than the Washington Post, because all that they are doing is regurgitating and reciting unverified news. So congratulations to The Hill. You are only guilty of repeating fake news. You're not guilty of having fabricated fake news, although repeating fake news is indeed fabricating fake news. Now, because this is a vlog, we are obviously going to touch on some legal issues as well. At the time these two recordings were reported on, there were some questions as to whether or not these recordings were legal in the first place. Some people were asking the question while others were answering the question, not fully appreciating what the question really was. From an article in The Atlanta. Yes, it's legal to record a phone call in Georgia without telling the other person. Donald Trump's hour-long chat with Brad Raffensperger highlighted a detail in Georgia's law. First off, if you have been around this channel for long enough, you know that I say that whenever anyone starts a sentence with yes and an answer or no and an answer, they are about to mislead you, and that is kind of what happens in this article. This article goes on to rightly state that Georgia is in fact a one-party consent state, and you should all appreciate the difference between a one-party consent state and a two-party consent state. In a two-party consent state, one cannot record a conversation without the consent of all parties involved. In a one-party consent state, you can record a conversation so long as you are a party to that lawsuit. You can't intercept a conversation between other people. That would be illegal. But if you are a party to a conversation, you can record it in a one-party consent state. So that is, in fact, a correct answer, except it's a correct answer to the wrong question. The questions around the legality of Raffensperger recording the conversation with Trump and lawyers did not revolve around the aspect of whether it was a one-party consent state. It revolved around the aspect of settlement discussions being confidential. And David Schaefer, the chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, took to Twitter to say as much. David Schaefer, at David Schaefer. President at Real Donald Trump has filed 2 lawsuits, federal and state, against at Georgia Secretary of State. The telephone conference call at Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger secretly recorded was a, quote, confidential settlement discussion, end quote, of that litigation, which is still pending. And the audio published by at the Washington Post is heavily edited and omits the stipulation that all discussions were for the purposes of settling litigation and confidential under federal and state law. Now, you can say that David Schaefer is wrong. You can call him a liar like a lot of people responding to his tweet in fact did, but from what I understand, Schaefer was actually a party to the state suit. He seems to be a reliable source, so although I will not take his word for gold, it is nonetheless an interesting question to ask. But now let's move on to the second 6-minute recording that was magically discovered in the computer trash bin of the investigator who recorded the conversation. CNN Politics. Officials located December recording of Trump call in a trash folder on Georgia investigator's device. Absolutely nothing to see here, folks. Just a misquote of a president leading to a fake, bogus bombshell of a story, and the recording of that conversation was found in the trash bin of the investigator who secretly recorded it. Carry on with your day. You know what? Before you carry on with your day, be sure to give this video a little thumbs up, drop a comment in the comment section, and subscribe and turn on notifications if you have not already done so and you are so inclined because you like my content. In fact, do it even if you don't like my content so that you can be notified when I put up a new video so you can come and leave me a negative comment. Now, back to the article. Officials in the Georgia Secretary of State's office located a recently released recording of former President Donald Trump's call to a state investigator in a trash folder on her device. A state official familiar with the situation confirmed to CNN. The discovery of the call comes after state officials originally told CNN that they did not think audio of the call existed. Now, why would the elections investigator be secretly recording a telephone conversation she was having with then President of the United States? I don't know, some people might hypothesize that she was looking for some damning piece of audio that she could use or leak to the press, and when she didn't get that damning piece of audio, she just deleted the conversation and put it in her trash bin, and then somebody, we don't know who, leaked to the Washington Post a quote that Donald Trump never actually said. Some tinfoil hat-wearing theorists out there might think that, but let's not think that way. Let's just go see what the investigator had to say for herself. Watson told CNN affiliate WSB-TV's investigative reporter Mark Winnie that she had recorded the December call from Trump for posterity. Quote, "It's not every day, that probably will never happen again in my lifetime," end quote, Watson told WSB. It is still not clear why Watson moved the audio of the call to her trash folder, but Watson told Winnie that even though she was surprised Trump called her, she did not perceive any pressure from his phone call. And just to put the cherry on this fake news Sunday, now that the media can no longer say that Trump said something that he didn't actually say, they've just got to reframe the headlines. From NPR, politics. Newly revealed call details how Trump pressed Georgia investigator to find vote. March 11, 2021. If you can't put it in quotes because it's not actually something Donald Trump actually said, just remove the quotes and repeat it anyhow. That is how fake news rolls. And that is the latest fake news scandal. This story is not only an indictment on the Washington Post,
It is an indictment on mainstream media as a whole.
it is a self-serving, vicious circle of fake news. You have one news outlet who posts a story. All the other news outlets report on that original story that was posted by the other news outlet, thereby creating an impression of legitimacy to the original story, which turns out to be bunk. And what do you have? You have a vicious circle of fake news bunk. And some of you out there might be asking how Winston magically appeared back in this shot. I lost the last shot of the vlog, so I had to reshoot it, so I figured I may as well present Winston to you because I know you all love his cute, furry face. And that is the absolute state of journalism in the year 2021. It is a vicious circle of bunk that has inspired me to create a new line of merch. Anti-Media, get yours today. And with that said, if you like my videos, you like my vlogs, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm.
You gonna eat that?
If you want to support the channel, you know how to. All of the support links are in the pinned comment. Robert Barnes and I do weekly live streams every Sunday. We have started doing weekly streams every Wednesday with a guest. If you want to follow us on Locals, we have a page there. It's called vivabarneslaw.locals.com. All of my videos are also on Rumble if you want to watch there. But more important than any of that, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, make sure everyone around you is doing well, and now you know you vlog. Peace out. Booyah!